Nigeria's National Electoral Commission has declared Alex Otti of the Labour Party winner of the governorship election in Abia State. He scored 175,467 votes to beat Oke Ahiwe of the People's Democratic Party, who came second with 88,529 votes. We are now joined by Alex Otti, Governor-elect of Abia State. Good morning, Mr. Alex Otti, and thank you for joining us on the morning show. Well, I guess congratulations will be in order. When we started this program, we were shown the video of the people of Abia State jubilating and saying, oh, this is their season of liberation from months of old salaries, from months of years even of poor governance and all of that. And you said you are going to be a servant leader for the people of Abia State. So expectation is very high. Could you talk about the concept of servant leadership? How will you go about this to meet the expectations of the people?
Thank you, Ruben. It's nice to be here once again. I'd like to also use this opportunity to thank Abia people who massively voted for me, came out in their numbers. I also like to thank INEC that stood by their rules. If that didn't happen, the election would have gone the way the others went. You will recall that I contested in 2015. I won that election, but the same local government Obingwa was used to torpedo the election in 2015. And that's exactly what they wanted to do this time around. Like I said yesterday, the BVAS is a game changer once you stick to the rule. So INEC stepped in and ensured that a review was done. The mutating numbers from 81,000 to 86,000 to 92,000 and finally 108,000 were punctured, and just about 27,000 accredited voters were recorded in the back end of BVAS. And out of that, PDP scored close to 10,000, 9,900, and we scored 3,600. Since the results have been declared for the other 16 local governments, where I was leading with close to 94,000 votes, it became clear that INEC was going to declare me. And that they did in the evening yesterday. So I'd like to thank them for standing by the rules. Yes, you are right. There was so much jubilation, and the jubilation continues today. As I was driving down here, everybody that was on the road was hailing. What are they saying? That for the first time, their votes counted. And they know me, they understand what I have come to do, they have studied my manifesto, they have engaged with me on one-on-one basis. They also can attest to my character, and they believe that no matter how bad things are in Abia today, that if there is one man that has the team, that has the network, the skills, the competence, the character to fix those things, that it has to be me. And that's why they voted for me. So there was so much apprehension when the results declaration was being delayed. But thank God that yesterday the results were declared and I was pronounced the winner. Now this victory is victory for Abia people. It's victory for the suffering people of Abia, for the civil servants, for the workers, for the pensioners, who some of them are owed for close to 60 months, for health management workers, for doctors who have been on strike for about 26 months salary arrears, for the apprentices who have been suffering the outcome of bad governance in the past 24 years. I know it's not going to be a walk in the park. I know it's going to be difficult, but I'm prepared. And I know that I will give good governance to our people. How am I going to go about it? I already have my vision encapsulated in a manifesto. In the next few days, I will appoint a transition committee and subsequently appoint a team preparatory to the swearing-in on the 29th of May, 2023. I have a knack for choosing the right people, because every organization, every institution is only as good as its people. So this will not be an exception. I'll pick the right people who can and who would help me deliver to Abia people.
Right.
That's where I will leave it. Ruben, thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Otti, and again, congratulations on your victory. Now, from the video that we saw earlier on, as you've alluded to, there's been jubilation and people talking about the fact that now salaries can be paid, pensions paid, as you talked about, and that you have to hit the ground running come post May 29 when you do become inaugurated as governor. What would be your priority area? In the first few days of office, what are you looking to do to justify the vote and confidence of Abians who came out to vote for you in their numbers? Some people have said that you might have to look at the revenue challenge, looking at paying off debt. What are you going to do in these areas?
Well, it's a very good question. We'll look at a lot of things, but we'll take them step by step. Yes, revenue is important. Debt is important. But I think what is the most important is looking at the economy. What are the low-hanging fruits? What are the things that we can do to jumpstart the depressed economy of Abia State? At the moment, statistics has it that the state debt profile is well over 190 billion as of December 2021. And you will find that between December 2021 and last December, that number may have increased. So let's even say that we work with the December 2021 numbers. And if you go back to May 2015, when the current government took over, the debt profile was just a mere 34.5 billion. So you find that one of the first things that you want to do is to look at that debt, ensure that everything about it is right, and then begin to discuss with the lending institutions. How would you deal with it in such a way that it would not constitute a roadblock towards achieving the targets that you have set for yourself? That is a major job I have to do. Thank God that it's my area, and it's an area I understand very well. As at yesterday, I had started engaging with some of the banks and some of the lenders. Things that they will be expecting will be debt write-off, interest write-off, restructuring, forgiveness where possible, and general restructuring. Then the next thing that we should be thinking about is how to get approval from the DMO and issue bonds so that we can term out these loans for a much longer period. And then the next thing is that you may have to take more loan to be able to jumpstart the economy. I had said time and time again that there is no problem with taking loans. What the problem is what you do with the loan. For an economy that is lying comatose, what you need to do is to stimulate it. And how do you stimulate it? Is by putting money into that economy. One of the easiest ways to put money into the economy is payment of salaries, allowances, and pensions. By the time you do that, you would have empowered the people that we are being owed before then to participate actively and fully in the economy, so that the economy will start moving in the direction that it's supposed to do. So payment of salaries is priority for me, and I've given myself a deadline. I do not know what the numbers are today, but I do know that a lot of people are being owed. So we're going to pay those salaries before the end of this year, and by the time we do that, we'll now begin to look at the other economic indices. It is our hope that by the time
can you hear me?
we are done in 4 years, that the 3.5 trillion naira economy that we have today could have doubled, and if not more than doubled.
Okay, Mr. Otti.
Thank you.
Okay, I mean, congratulations to you, and it's a hard-fought victory, and you're finally here today after many tries. But also, I'm sure, like you know, with great power comes great responsibility. And the responsibility part is what we'll talk about this morning. You will have to take more debt. You will have to float bonds. Probably when you are done with this debt spree, that debt level will have increased well into about 240, 250 billion, because you also have to build battered infrastructure. And you're doing this vis-a-vis an IGR of about 16 billion, according to budgets. What will you do to be able to raise revenue? Yeah, you can stimulate the economy, but it doesn't have a direct correlation on revenue raise. So what are the low-hanging fruits to be able to get that IGR up a little bit, so at least it will be a hedge for you to be able to go to the markets? Because obviously you're going to be going to the capital market, you're going to be floating bonds and all of that. And this definitely will increase the debt cycle in the state vis-a-vis the need for infrastructure on ground.
Rufai, thank you very much. And you are partially correct, and that you need to do something about the internally generated revenue. But I'd like to tell you that that's just one part of the story. The other part of the story is that when you focus on revenue, you miss the boat. There are actions that you will take that will naturally increase the revenue. Some of the things I've spoken about will have direct impact on revenue. I had, at my previous engagement here, defined taxation as government's share of the prosperity it has created amongst the populace. So if you're able to create prosperity, then you can ask for taxes, and you ask for government revenue back as your own share. If you have an economy that is struggling, what to do is not to focus on revenue. What to do is to focus on stimulating that economy and growing the economy. And in the process of growing the economy, you can now come back and collect revenue. You are right, the government revenue at the moment is about 16 billion as reported by the government. But I can tell you for free that that revenue can easily double just by doing the right things. I do not think that even the process of collection of the revenue is transparent. I'm aware that some people are given contracts to collect revenue as compensation for the roles they have played for politicians. We are not going to tolerate that. We are going to introduce technology into revenue collection, and we're going to be transparent and accountable. So you will find that that 16 billion can easily become 32 billion just by doing the right things. But again, like I said, when you do not focus on creating resources from where you will now collect revenue, you will be missing the point. So I would ask you to relax, and Abia people to relax, because we know what to do.
Would you raise taxes?
Take that again?
Would you raise taxes?
Well, yes and no. No, because, again, when the base is low, raising taxes is punishing the people. This government will not punish the people. But when we have created a big base, when you have created a strong base, then even if you don't raise taxes, you will find that your collections will be higher than when the cake is small. So I think the response will be that we will create a bigger cake. So if you are collecting 10% of a small cake, and then you are collecting 10% of a bigger cake, your guess will be as good as mine. So we create a bigger economy, create a more robust economy, so that the taxes that will come from there would be able to give some people comfort. It is also not economically wise, and that is from an economic point of view, that you raise taxes in a depression and a recession. If anything, what you do is to give tax breaks so that spending can increase. When you raise taxes, you are cutting spending. And it is actually spending that stimulates the economy. So we'll do everything possible to ensure that our economy grows rather than shoot the economy in the foot. A lot of people who raise taxes, who use people, touts and talks to chase people around the whole place, may not realize that they're actually shooting the economy in the foot. So if I ask you to pay when I have created prosperity for you, you happily pay. I'm sure, Ruben.
Well, Mr. Otti, you said a lot to the people of Abia State. You will not disappoint them. You will not punish them. You will be a servant leader. But what are you saying to your old driver, Okeze Ikweazu, and also to the PDP candidate, Ahize? And have you received any congratulatory messages either from Ikweazu or from Ahize or from any of the other rivals in that race? Even if you have not, what are you saying to them?
Thank you, Ruben. That's a very good question. Yes, I had said this is not going to be a government of victimization. We are not going to go after people. There's no reason to do that. Yes, people have hurt us in the past. We had won elections and they were stolen. And key participants in that in 2015 were also the same people that wanted to frustrate this election. But I had also said that as recorded in the Holy Scriptures, if there is no sin, there will be no forgiveness. So first of all, asked anyone and everyone that I had offended to forgive me, and I have also said that I have forgiven everyone that had offended me. So I'm not going to go after anybody. There's no reason for that. I will have 4 years in the first instance and another 4 years by His grace. So you'll find that you may spend the entire 8 years chasing enemies, both real and imaginary. We have a lot of work to do and we don't want to be distracted. So we are not going to try and revenge because it's not important. Having said that, I have received a congratulatory message from Dr. Okezi Ikpeazu, the current governor of the state, and I thank him for that message. It was released last night, and in that message, he had advised all contestants not to go to court and not to start a litigation that would distract the government. I thank him for that. I can tell you without any fear of contradiction that other than Obingwa, there was virtually no other local government, and to a little extent, Isialangwa North. But I believe INEC decided to let Isialangwa North go. But there was nowhere else that massive rigging happened. So the votes that were cast were authentic votes. A lot of times why people proceed to court is when they feel that injustice had been done to them. I have received a lot of congratulatory messages from candidates, even before INEC announced the result yesterday. The first of such messages came from Professor Gregory Ibe, who is the proprietor of Gregory University in Uturu, and the candidate of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, ABGA. He has sent a congratulatory message about 3-4 days ago, while INEC was still reviewing the process, and asked INEC to declare me winner, and also enjoined others to follow suit. Subsequently, I had also received congratulatory messages from Bishop Sunday Onoha, from Bishop Emeka Wampa. Sunday Onoha is the candidate for ADC. Emeka Wampa is the candidate for Accord Party. Bondo Huche, I've also received a congratulatory message from him, the candidate of AAC. Yesterday, I also received a congratulatory message from the candidate of ADP, Chief Chibike Jonas, and then the candidate of AA, Onyekwere Akim Uche, also sent a congratulatory message. So there have been a deluge of congratulatory messages, and my understanding is that since they have deliberately and on their own considered that these people are not going to proceed to court. And I thank them for their maturity and for giving peace a chance. I'm still expecting the congratulatory message from Okea Hiwe, the candidate of PDP, who was my closest rival. Direct answer to your question, I am going to focus on the job, and there is a lot to do. I'm not going to be involved in victimization or in probe or in sending people to jail because that is not what Abia people voted me to do. They voted me to come and fix the state.
On that note,
that I will do.
Well, on that note, we would like to thank you very much, Mr. Alex Otti, for joining us on the morning show.